fibrous materials are forced to physically rupture the liposomes that leads to inflammatory activation. United inflammatory, especially the inflammatory, is the enzymatic protein complex that is needed to cleave precursor IL-1 protein and release mature IL-1. Now, to understand the carriers, this is an example of the cytokine induction with carriers, because initially a highly pro-inflammatory, they induce cytokines, chemokines, metalloproteinases, which are known as antigen. This induction is related to the oxidative stress, but the reason why I would like to show this is that by induced cytokines, it's not good for drug delivery for systemic administration of these materials. However, they can gain its effect, right? There's always this toxicity could be bad or good depending on whether it is desirable or not. So these categories of that are extremely pro-inflammatory are in fact used currently with phase 2 clinical trials where these materials are used for vaccines, and they are not injected systemically, but they inject it subcutaneously. It is very important to understand the pro-inflammatory properties of the drug for every pharmaceutical ingredient that I deliver using nanoparticles. In this case, I'm using as an example, I'm using the single-guided RNA construct from the CRISPR-Cas9 system just to show you some structure-affinity relationship. You see that the RNA-based materials are more pro-inflammatory than DNA-based materials, and at the time of inflammation, I'm using levels of the type 1 and interferon alpha. The same sequence of the materials are modified with two-prime chain and the changing of the backbone from the phosphodiester to phosphatidyl, that this inflammatory activity can be completely eliminated. This single-guided RNAs are prepared by keto transcription. They induce interferons, however, removal of the 5' glyphosate reduces ability to induce interferons, and finally the origin, whether it is keto transcribed or an amino, whether it is generated for the chemical synthesis, and then it doesn't make any difference. But why we are looking at this information about the carrier and about the API? Because if the properties, if the inflammatory properties are overlapping, right, then it would be no all for systemic administration. If, however, we want to use vaccines or immunotherapies and we consider alternative routes of administration, then these overlapping properties will become beneficial. In other words, if I use carrier keto, which I showed you the previous slide, which is highly pro-inflammatory, and I combine it with this interferon-inducing single-guided RNA, right, what I would do with we would extend the greater inflammation with the final formulation. In vaccine, it may be good, but the systemic administration is not good. Finally, immunogenicity. Immunogenicity, in a way, how it goes in human definition, refers to the building of the immune and specific response that includes human response. What we know from many years of research is that nanoparticles themselves are not immunogenic. So one cannot generate antibodies to nanoparticles unless you conjugate them to a protein carrier. So nanoparticles behave as a hapten. And we have examples of this antibodies that were generated through 60 to 70 putidines to carbon nanotubes and dendrimers and liposomes after the conjugation of this to the protein. So in the case of the liposome, it was the liposomes carried killer ligands. But there are no examples in the literature, there are no reports where the engineered nanomaterial that was carrying therapeutic proteins would result in either nanoparticles defeated or the drug-defeated immune response. No other. There are examples of the nanotechnology formulated proteins which decrease the immunogenicity of the protein. Some of the examples include integrated both GNF like 691 and also liposomal kinase and liposomal factor A. However, this is a growing area in biotechnology therapeutics. Some of the accidental undesirable nanocyte materials that include glass fibers, cellulose fibers, tungsten, silicone oil, rubber, chemicals, fluoropolymers that may be introduced into the recombinant protein formulations during manufacturing, and this starts to promote aggregation of the therapeutic proteins and contribute to their immunogenicity. So the take-home message is the particles may be immunogenic, they also may reduce immunogenicity of therapeutic proteins, but most importantly, we need to distinguish the particles that are designed for drug delivery from these accidental nanomaterials, right? Because accidental nanomaterials are the troublemakers. The engineered nanoparticles can be engineered to avoid immunogenicity, which is undesirable. So my take-home message from this presentation is that the immunotoxicity of nanoparticles can be good or bad. It really depends on whether the toxicity is desirable or undesirable, and the benefit of nanotechnology is the ability to engineer the particle physical chemical properties to improve their desirable biological outcomes and reduce undesirable ones. And also, for the same reason, it is very important to understand structure-affinity relationship and the mechanism of toxicity. Why? Because once we understand it, we can select the carrier which would be the most optimal for the certain type of drug, for the certain indication. With this, I would like to thank all of my colleagues at the Nanotechnology Characterization Lab, and specifically the thank you to my team members for Karen and the Patch, and thank you all for your attention. Okay, I think we have time for questions. You know, this is a wonderful question. So the question was, are the nanoparticles eventually clear from the body or they accumulate in the liver? It depends on the type of the particle. So we remember that I showed this ability application with the type, the dominant type of nanomaterials for drug delivery. Most of them are different from the maximum, so these are biodegradable materials. The time they do their job and they are degraded, they do not stay. If we talk about carbon nanotubes, if we talk about colloidal gold, for example, these materials are durable, so they, after they lose all of their protein, they eventually accumulate into nanomaterial photosynthesis system. And there are studies that show that these metallic particles can stay in the body for a very long time. And the idea behind it is, the Cooper cells capture the particles, and then the Cooper cell dies, it releases the particle, and the new Cooper cell comes and take it up, and so this process continues. However, I think that this is the reason why carbon nanotubes, the durable materials are not considered materials for drug delivery. However, when it comes to colloidal gold was used for the therapy of arthritis for many years. So even though it accumulates in the immune cells, there are no described toxicity for this type of materials. And if you want the time fact, there is a email I sent you the link to the Doctor of Science thesis, to the dissertation from Denmark, published in 1962. So what this person did, he tried to clear of the gold nanoparticles in mice of those who used with students. And so if you look at the 1962, I guess the ethical regulations were not so strict as they are now, I commonly ask that some of my colleagues at the FDA and the really it's now very good time to fill out time all of this patient, all of the students, because their names are identified in the dissertation. Now we do our studies blind, but then there was no blind study, and fill out who the doctor is, health issues, or how the injection of the gold is doing health. So no one has done the study, just interesting dissertation at the time looking at the green sources. I will do gold. We talked about there any other chemotherapeutics that are common? Yeah, so the patient is, I use the word of the concept of the solution that either chemotherapy. So paclitaxel is another drug, and you know, the taxane is an albumin particle that is a nanotechnology counter part of the capsule. In capsule, the paclitaxel is used in Premafor, which is monocyte dimension, but it's not used to if you use the drug, but it's used to formulate it. The Premafor is associated with the work of decomplement activation mediated toxicity. So in other formulation approved for clinical uses, Blumevride, this is a liposomal formulation of irinotecan. So that is, and there is a downzone, which is downloaded, so that's, you know, pretty much what those are just downloaded paclitaxel and irinotecan. First oncology technique based on hospitality. And also, as you were listening, it has other side effects on disease and that's what they show. But there's times when patients are on reception and they have cardiomyopathy and they're not able to use hospitality because of cardiomyopathy, but also that come in and different other hospitals. Yeah, because it's always safe, we're just saying and this is how FDA approves the drug. If they genetic outweighs the risk, then formulations are approved. But I think what I'm optimistic is, as we learn more about the mechanisms, about the properties of the particles that are responsible for certain types of toxicity, the whole disease that we can find a way to develop the formulation so that the therapeutic benefit will be there, that toxicity use will be eliminated. That's the goal. Yeah. Okay, thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the annual William E. Paul Lecture as part of the NIH Director's Wednesday afternoon lecture series. This is the first lecture in this newly named series dedicated to the memory of the former chief of the Laboratory of Immunology at NIAID, Dr. William E. Paul. We are very pleased that Bill's wife Marilyn, other members of Bill's family, as well as many of Bill's mentees and long-term colleagues are joining us for today's special lecture. Bill first joined the Institute in 1968, along with Nobel laureate Baruch Ben-Azarath. I remember Bill's arrival very well, since this was the year that I began my own immunology infectious disease fellowship here at NIAID. Bill was 17 years old and I was 14 years old. He was very bright and was appointed the chief of the Laboratory of Immunology 2 years later in 1970, a position that Bill held for more than 45 years. Under Bill's leadership, the Laboratory of Immunology became one of the premier centers of immunological research in the world. His research resulted in many seminal discoveries that advanced the fields of immunology and provided the foundation for our current understanding of T-cell and cytokine biology and their roles in host immunity and disease. Bill also served as the NIH Associate Director for AIDS Research and the Director of the Office. Resulted in a refocusing on basic immunology, as you might expect, and vaccines within the NIH HIV/AIDS research program. Bill was a mentor to many researchers who went on to become leaders in immunology. Row, and I can even remember the dress I was wearing. Bill and I are both here again today, but in very different roles. Bill is here only as a member, as an esteemed alum of the Laboratory of Immunology, the NIAID, and the NIH, and as father of the Vaccine Research Center. Bill was proud to be a member of a generation of scientists who opened the doors to immunology to its power and potential. And I am here today to thank the NIH for affording Bill an extraordinary career. Our family had the pleasure of living with a man who enjoyed every day that he went to work. Bill's success brought joy to our home and gave me and our family a wonderful life. And now, my family and I appreciate the honors being bestowed on Bill's memory. We will always be grateful to Bill's years at the NIH. Thank you for coming here this afternoon. Thank you very much, Marilyn. It is now my great pleasure to introduce today's lecturer, Dr. Thomas A. Waldman. In Tom's presentation today, he will share his perspectives on the IL-15 Janus kinase STAT system and its implications for immunotherapy of autoimmune diseases and cancer. Tom received his medical degree from Harvard Medical School and joined the NCI in 1956. He has served as the chief of the lymphoid malignancies branch, which was formerly the metabolism branch, since 1973. His research focuses on the IL-2 receptor system and the growth of both neoplastic and normal cells. He defined the IL-2 receptor alpha and beta subunits using the now FDA-approved lacutamab antibody that he himself discovered. Tom also co-discovered IL-15 and performed the first in-human clinical trial of this agent in patients with metastatic malignancy. His research has defined molecular abnormalities of the common gamma cytokine, JAK-STAT signaling pathway in HCLT1-associated T-cell lymphoma, and he conducted a clinical trial of JAK inhibitor in patients with disorder. SARM's laboratory has also focused on studies of T-cell receptor and immunoglobulin genes for the diagnosis and monitoring of therapies for lymphomas and leukemias, including production of antibodies to the IL-2 receptor and the use of the IL-2 receptor-directed therapy. SARM's lab continues today in making major scientific contributions to cytokine biology and immunology that are significantly benefiting the areas of autoimmune diseases, cancer, and organ transplantation. So please join me in welcoming my friend and colleague, Dr. Tom Waldman, as he presents his talk entitled The Two Faces of the IL-15 Janus Kinase STAT System, Implications for the Immunotherapy of Autoimmune Diseases and Cancer. Well, thank you, Tony. It's a true pleasure and a great honor to have the opportunity to present the inaugural William E. Paul Honorary Lecture. Bill Paul is a legendary figure in the field of immunology. Bill has been an inspiration and my treasured friend for 55 years, since 1962, when he joined the NC Lee and Roy Burt for a stint in the endocrinology branch of the NCI, where he treated women with choriocarcinoma with the drug methotrexate. However, we still call the immunology way. Bill Paul is a shining icon and pioneering giant of contemporary immunology. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of the field. For 3 decades, he was chief editor of the Annual Review of Immunology, which under his guidance for 7 years was the most cited publication in biomedical science. He initiated and edited Fundamental Immunology, the most definitive reference in the field. He was, for a period, the editor of the journal Immunity. He was president of the American Association of Immunologists, the American Society for Clinical Investigation. Furthermore, he was chief of the Laboratory of Immunology from 1970 until his death. With his persistently positive attitude and his generosity, the laboratory was and is a resounding success. We all appreciate his ability to ask the most probing questions, yet make us feel we were receiving an accolade, a reflection of his modesty about his remarkable intellect. I and many of you in the audience have benefited from his generosity by being nominated for an honor, award, or membership in an august society, actions where he appeared to have more enjoyment from our successes than from his own accolades. Bill's contributions to the research in the field of immunology are extraordinary. One of his first and important works was with the future Nobel laureate, who showed that IR genes control the capacity of simple carrier molecules such as mono and diamino polymers to elicit immune responses to any haptens conjugated to these carriers. He showed that NHC class II molecules played a critical role in the presentation of antigens by APCs to T cells, and that polymorphisms in class II determined the specificity of the control. His more recent seminal contribution with Maureen Howard was the discovery of IL-4, the elucidation of the molecular basis of IL-4 signaling, dissection of molecular genetic control and of the Th2 cytokines, and the delineation of the general principle of positive cytokine feedback regulation of CD4 T-cell effector polarization. For 4 decades, it has been my privilege to share any interest in the common gamma cytokines with them. Over the past 35 years, a major focus of my laboratory has been on the roles of IL-2 and IL-15 in the life and death of lymphocytes, and the implication of these observations for the immunotherapy cancer. To touch upon IL-2, there was the Kashiyoshima introduced anti-attack, diclizumab to improve a monoclonal antibody that with Warner Leonard and Warner Brain was used to define and molecular clone the gene for IL-4 alpha, the discovery of CD25. Through the decades, we developed this antibody where it is humanized form for therapy. It was approved for the prevention of organ allograft rejection and for the treatment of patients with multiple sclerosis. However, today I will focus on IL-15, a cytokine pivotal in the maintenance of NK cells and memory phenotype T cells. There will be 2 parts to my talk. The first, familiar to many of you, will be our efforts to bring to fruition IL-15 in combination therapy as an effective approach to the treatment of metastatic malignancy. The second part, which I have never presented, will be on disorders of IL-15 and its signaling JAK-STAT system in autoimmune diseases and T-cell malignancies, and our efforts to develop agents to take that into account and treat these disorders. So in terms of Janus, the Roman god, he must work backwards and forwards into the future as I will. And I will also give him both good and evil faces. IL-15 useful in therapy, IL-15 involved in disease pathogenesis. So IL-15 is shown here, is involved in an immunological synapse where antigen-presenting cells and IL-15 or alpha present its always partner, IL-15 in yellow, to cells of the beta and gamma chain of this tripartite receptor. I will tell you IL-15, when given to people, has the capacity to dramatically increase the number of activation status of NK cells, a 30-fold increase in the number of conventional NK cells, and more than 300-fold increase in the number of CD56 bright NK cells. And it reaches mechanics to increase the number of CD8 cells 100-fold to 100 per cubic millimeter. However, in each case, there is an induction of a checkpoint. Thus, in order for IL-15 to reach its potential, it will have to be used in combination therapy that circumvents these checkpoints, that is rational, that is functioning in animal models, and is just now being translated into clinical trials. So IL-15, which as usual we discovered in serendipity while studying IL-2 receptor, is a 14-15 proton member of the 4-alpha-helic double cytokine family. It and IL-2 share much. They both have as their receptors a heteroprimeric one, the gamma chain, also used by IL-4, 7, 9, and 21. And each they share a beta chain, CD192, which I've named here, IL-15 or beta. Furthermore, each has its unique alpha chain, the IL-15 is really a pivotal partner. They signal for JAK1, JAK3, and STAT5. So for a long time, I thought IL-15 must be IL-2 light. It must be very redundant. And in part that is true. However, they do have IL-15 and IL-15 or alpha, shown on your left, are made together when the cell is exposed to interferon, CD40 ligation, or toll-like receptors. And these cells with recycling IL-15, IL-15 or alpha circulate for a number of days until they meet with their target, a beta-gamma expressing NK or CD8 cells that does not express IL-15 or alpha, and transpresents IL-15 signal to the new cell for its benefit. When we studied IL-15 due to the differences we just discussed in a considerable number of tumor models, this was the first study that we did in the CT26 tumor model, and one sees a modest effect of IL-15 prolonging the survival of tumor-bearing mice. Studies of these 4 different types of studies such as these, and the indication that it was not really very toxic and leads to attacks, that the immunotherapy agent workshop, which identified agents that might be of value in the clinic, IL-15 was number 1 in its list of such potential useful immunotherapy agents. With that in mind, and with the financial help of our scientific and institute director, we had an opportunity to oversee the biopharmaceutical development program, Dr. Simondas and Creekmore, in the production of E. coli IL-15 for human use. And with this, we, with Kevin Conlon, performed the first in-human study of IL-15 in patients with metastatic malignancy. The patients had a much more toxic path than the research advanced. There was fever, shaking chills, hypotension, and one had to de-escalate with dose of 15 to 3/10 micrograms per kilogram. Nevertheless, shown here, following the administration of IL-15 by bolus infusion, there was an immediate virtual disappearance of NK cells from the circulation that may be marginated in postcapillary venules or actually into the tissues.